to Brian Kelly. Let's get the hard news out of the way first. Let's start with injury updates, and let's start with Jack Besh.
Jack was out there today, or yesterday, excuse me. But he is day to day. Obviously, we're going to continue to use him and Greg Clayton back there.
Just make you a fair catch and catch the ball. I'm tired fighting with this. Okay, Armani Goodwin. The news is pretty good.
Armani practiced yesterday, held the volume pretty good. We'll see how he feels today. I think that will be the big test, Wilson, in terms of, what I haven't checked in with Bo yet, our trainer. But, had a pretty good amount yesterday and really felt pretty good after I talked to him after practice. So we're hopeful that that'll continue to trend where he can get some playing time this weekend.
Hey, look, the running game is starting to improve. It's making incremental steps. The running game outside of the quarterback, I ain't turning down no help at this point. Major Burns, don't need to play the clip, but because he's not coming back this week, but he is in non-contact drills. Kelly updated that, and the thought is that he will be back for Alabama. So all of that, pretty good news from Brian Kelly. So let's get to what he thinks about Ole Miss. And this is a different looking Ole Miss team. This is not what you normally expect from Lane Kiffin. So that starts on the defensive end this time.
Well, they operate out of 3 down, but, they're playing with 6 defensive backs, and one of the defensive backs is 225 pounds, and, they're boundary dime, and the Reese kid is really an unusual player. He can play back on the hash. He can come down and play, at the linebacker position. It gives them great versatility where, they can move the people around and give you a multitude of different looks. So I think it's the versatility of their personnel that makes it probably a unique defensive structure more than anything else.
So when I hear that, the first thing I want to know is how do they defend the run? And the results are pretty good, not great, not terrible. Ole Miss giving up 144 yards a game on the ground. For context, LSU's given up 145 yards a game on the ground. So if you want to know what the Ole Miss rush defenses look like from a competitive standpoint this year, it's looked pretty much like the LSU defense. Stylistically, they're different, but from a result standpoint, they are very much the same. Offensively, you're not going to recognize this group if you're expecting Lane Kiffin from the past. And Kelly even said they've changed a whole lot from week 1 to now.
Well, I think it's settling in on, their structure offensively in terms of what they want to do and the good sequential, play calling and setting things up. I think they're comfortable in terms of what they're doing offensively. I think it's like any other team, really. They had a lot of new players and everybody's kind of being, asked to do something, and they're much more accustomed to what their roles are. And then defensively, I think, they obviously are doing a pretty good job of playing good football. So I think it's more than anything else. It's similar to us in the sense that we had a lot of new players transfer in on defense and just being more accustomed to the new roles that they're playing.
So they're still piling up plenty yards, and they're still running a lot of plays. I'll get to that in a second. They just don't throw it as much as you'd expect from a Lane Kiffin team. Over 500 yards of total offense a game. They are the number 1 rushing team in the Southeastern Conference, but the number 9 passing team. Most people think Lane, and myself included, you think Lane Kiffin, you think of the quarterbacks that he has tutored and the offenses that have a lot of creativity to them. This offense has a lot of creativity to it. It's just in the run game. So the other thing you think about with Ole Miss is how fast do they go? And, okay, this is ordinarily you think, well, run game, this is control the clock. This is, dominate time of possession. This is not tempo. That's actually not true. They're running plenty plays. They are second in the league in number of plays run. They've run more plays than Georgia, okay? Just to give you an idea. When you think about the only team that's run more plays than them in the league is Arkansas, who I also don't think of as a tempo team, but is a big rush team. We think of tempo. I think of Mississippi State. They go fast, right? The Pirate, the Air Raid, all that stuff. Ole Miss has run 28 more plays in the same amount of games as Mississippi State has. So you're talking about almost a half's worth of football, more offensive plays for what Ole Miss has run than what State has. So just to give you an idea of what they're doing, no, their schedule has not been the toughest. everything on the Ole Miss schedule is backloaded. Their non-conference schedule was not very difficult. Their Power 5 team was Georgia Tech, who's already fired their coach. They have played Vandy. They have played Auburn, who was a little bit down. So it's not the best conference schedule yet. The best win that they have is against Kentucky. That was a 3-point win. It was in Oxford. Kentucky hit the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter inside the 35-yard line and couldn't win the game. I'm just saying, okay, this is a very good Ole Miss team. Are they quite as good as their ranking? I would suggest, as would Vegas, maybe not. For LSU, the challenge this week is to build on success. Sometimes it's a difficult thing.
Consistency in performance. We want to be able to put good performances back to back. We haven't been able to do that yet. It's been, kind of grinding out a game. We haven't put together a full 4 quarters of football yet. And we'll have to do that against an outstanding football team in Ole Miss.
Strange as it may seem, handling success is sometimes harder than handling failure. Failure builds resolve, in anybody that's any good anyway. It builds resolve. It builds determination thing. Hey, we're not going to stay down. You win a game, it's a lot easier to stay happy. Hey, we're doing good. That's why the best coaches will usually do the opposite of what the general public will do. If a team is going poorly and everybody is jumping on them, family, friends, fans, media, whatever, the coach will play the role of counselor. Hey, you guys are not as bad as everybody's telling you. On the other hand, when you win and people are starting to feel good about it and everybody's telling you how great you are, usually the coach will say, hey, you know what, you're not as good as you think you are.